I want to review like good music that people don't review because people review new music and popular music, and some of it's good, but they usually don't even review that. They usually just review popular music. But there's a lot of good music that doesn't get reviewed a lot. Um, there's a lot of like synth poppy, like weird stuff going on right now in music, in both the abstracts, like the Death Grips, Charlie XCX, or the mainstream is doing a version of it, and that deconstructed synth pop dark shit. There's a band doing that in the 60s and then very well in the 70s. They're actually doing more interesting electronic synth stuff in the 70s than people are freaking out about now, you know, 40 years later. They also invented music videos. They had music videos before there was MTV. Um, but they came out with an album. This is probably a good entry point album called the Commercial Album. And usually in a song, you get a verse and a chorus, and then they repeat it three times. But this was their like top 40. They made like a fake. There's 40 songs on it. They're all about a minute. Most of them are a little longer, I think. Um, but they're like flawless, like jewels of songs, or like beautiful songs. If you extended the chorus of some of these songs, you would actually have like a hit pop song if you just repeat it three times. Um, they like capture like an entire essence of like what a certain genre or certain type of song is in like a perfect sentence, and then you move on to the next one, so you're still like thinking about this song you just heard, and then you missed an entire song, and then the next time you listen to the record you're like, oh, my favorite song is that song I wasn't even paying attention to because there's processing. It's just like this hyper ADD kind of. But the residents, they're crazy, they're psychic, they probably saw TikTok, they saw the internet, they saw this review, they saw how people would be stupider and just consuming uh, clips of things. So they made it like that before anybody, like decades before anybody. Um, there's like I don't even know what to say about songs. Uh, they're all good. There's some that are really good. There's like uh, Margaret Freeman is like one of the most residency fucking things condensed to a minute. That's like if you need to know what the residents are, just listen to Margaret Freeman, and you will understand in a minute exactly what the residents are. Um, Japanese Watercolor is pretty simple song. I think is a genius song. Uh, Perfect Love and Amber are literally like should be in the canon of like American pop songs. They're just perfect. They're like they don't just like ironically make fun of what a pop song is. They actually are legitimately perfect pop songs. It's kind of infuriating. I think David Byrne and Brian Eno guests on one of the tracks. I forget which one. They have a few other guests of like cool musicians like that that are on the record. They were just a group of genius, like an art collective of genius performance artists. They made a bunch of amazing concept albums. The commercial album might be the best place to start because you just get like a crazy injection of like 1 minute of you don't stay in one thing too long. Like if you give somebody Eskimo and they don't know what they're getting into, they might just be like, "What'd you just do to me?" But you have to give them the commercial album. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you the commercial album so that later you can listen to Third Reich and Roll and Not Available. Because it's not their best album, but it's probably the best way to explain to somebody what the Residence is without them just disliking you for playing that noise in their ear. Like it's probably the most palatable version of what actual progressive, deconstructive, dark synth pop art is to people. Still, in my opinion, but um, yeah, people like the more kind of whatever the stuff that's like it's not like an anonymous weird cult that like I think the guy died. Hardy Fox died. He was apparently the main guy as of recent. I think Snakefinger is dead. But they're all on this record, like the prime lineup of whoever the residents were, which is probably rotating. I think is on this record. It's just a perfect. It's like a perfect summation of everything the residents do. also it's just like you don't really want songs. You have to think about it like you're listening to a top 40 station, um, and it's like aliens. Like you're listening to like a feed of an alien. And this band, each song is like this band's best song. So you're listening to like the greatest hits of like 1979 November in like some weird alien planet where everybody speaks with like creepy robot sounds. That's how I think about it. And it's one of the best records ever. 10. I don't review things that aren't 10s.